Hi bitches. Welcome, well not back, it's actually the first video. Today I will be explaining all the applied energistic stuff that we have on the ATC, that there is on the ATC modpack. At least the basic, quote-unquote basics. I will make another video if I get about 5 likes. And there will definitely be a video coming about all the energy, so energy generation. Well, to start off, we have the energy acceptor. The energy acceptor has two forms. The normal block form, which can accept energy on all 6 of its faces, and the energy acceptor, well, plain pane form, which directly connects to a cable. Both of these accept different kinds of energy and convert it into the AE energy sort, so that your network can use it. Energy and or channels can flow through all of the applied energistics blocks, but with only a maximum of 8. So you can only have 8 channels going through a block, not more. So that's something to note. Well, there are 3 different kinds of energy generation at the moment, and 2 are 100% survival viable, and this one is it could be, but I have to test more. You can use the energy provider to generate power. It takes rotational force. It is a 4 times consumer, as you can see. And it takes the rotation and convert, and when it's next to a energy acceptor, because you will always place it like this, no matter if you shift, it will convert 1 RPM into 2 AE. So this will be the stats of a max spinning shaft next to it, or chain drive, or whatever. So it will generate 512 AE tick. As you can see, that is completely accurate. Spinning at 256, and it is consuming 104. So yeah. Then you can also use FE. So 2 FE is 1 AE. This is, well, putting in 1.14 giga FE into this thing, which it just directly does. If I'm not mistaken, a void battery also works, so you can also use that. And as you can see here, it's half of this amount, so that's why this. Then there's also the 3rd generation. It's not that good, although it is free energy within a block with no other consumption. It's completely free. You just need to make the block, and it's the crystal resonance generator. It will make 20 AE a tick, but you can only have 1 per system. Even if there's a subnet, you can only have 1. So this is for completely separate systems that don't use that much energy. Then, after energy generation, we have energy storage. There are 3 kinds you can use in survival, and technically 4. There's the energy cell, the dense energy cell, and the super dense energy cell. The energy cell can store up to 200 kilo AE, which is about 100 kilo RPM and 400 kilo FE. And every time it goes up in density, it times 8 the storage. So this is 1.6 million, and this is 12.8 million. Then there's also the creative energy cell, which stores the integer limit, yeah, I know, of AE. So yeah, it's, what was it again? It's a 922.34 tera AE. Yeah, I know, big numbers. But it can only be obtained in creative, so that's why it's called the creative energy cell. Then, to actually make a network, you need to have a couple of things, of course. You need to have power and a controller and something to move the channels. A controller makes technically infinite channels, although you can only get about 32. No, technically you can only get about what is it? 32 times 32 channels out of each side. So that's, wait, let me do the quick maths. Quick maths. 1,204 channels out of each face. Yeah, but that's with advanced stuff. The normal method, or basic method that is using cables, and this the controller consumes about 3 AE a tick. So there are 5 types of cables, and they are split into 2 kinds. There's the small profile and the large profile. The small profile can carry up to 8 channels and can have plain blocks on them. So like that. Oh. Sorry for that. And there are these two are the exact same, which is the ME glass cable and the ME Flux ME covered cable. They do the exact same, although this one is more aesthetically pleasing, of course, than this. Then there's also the smart cable, which actually shows you how many channels are flowing through it, which is really handy. Then there's also the dense forms of these two cables. There's no dense form for the glass cable. So the dense covered cable and the dense smart cable. They can both carry up to 32 channels through them. And the smart one, of course, displays the amount of channels going through it. You can also see this with Jade if you look at the block. It displays it at the bottom here. So that's neat. But when you're a bit later in the game, you will have, of course, a bigger base. And you need to transfer more channels everywhere. And a neat block you can use that is really quite basic is the wireless connector. You need to have 2 wireless connectors placed, of course. And you need a wireless ME wireless setup kit. What you do, you right-click one, and it will bind it to this location. And if you right-click to another one that you haven't right-clicked on, of course, it will connect it, and it will put every channel through here, up to 32 channels, through this thing, and it will place it at the other end. This will act like it was one of these cables, only, of course, wirelessly. But do keep in mind, each channel that goes through this thing exponentially requires more AE a tick, and in its dormant state, it only uses 1 AE a tick, but when it uses channels, it exponentially goes up. So do keep that in mind and use energy cards when you can, because these are AE eaters. They eat energy. For making your network like cleaner and stuff, you can like do this, but that's not like organized. That's not compact. We want compactness. And for that, you can use the cable anchor. It just makes it so that cables don't connect to each other or don't connect to a block. So, for example, this is fully isolated. It does not go through. Same as here. These don't connect. They only connect to here and here. So yeah, those are really handy for your cable management. And if you want to make some dense AE stuff. Now, when you are done setting up your basic network and transferring all the channels to the correct location, you most likely are going to use AE for your storage. And there are kind of two methods to storing stuff in applied logistics, which is the ME drive and the storage bus. Well, we'll start with the ME drive. An ME drive consumes 2 AE tick and has 10 cell slots. And we also have the ME extended drive, which holy fuck, consumes 2 AE tick, but it has 20 cell slots, which is of course better, and you need to use a drive upgrade for that. All the extended blocks need an upgrade, like for example this for the drive. In these drives you will put cells which can store items. I will not explain how the cells actually work because they're very complicated. Just think of it, the normal cells can store up to 63 types of items, all with increased bit numbers, which just means that they can store more of those kinds of items. There's the item storage cells, which are the normal and the megas, and then we also have the fluid ones, which can store only up to 18 types instead of the 63 types. Then there's also a couple of special cells, which are of course the two creative cells. These don't store any items, they just void the items. And there's also the two infinite cards. Currently there are two. It's the infinite water cell and infinite cobble cell. They will both do the normal integer limit amount of water and stone, so 2,100,000,000 something of their respective items. There could be more added, maybe, I don't know. There could be more eventually. Then there's also the portable cells. Nobody currently uses these. I know that nobody does. But they are kind of like backpacks, where they can store up to 54 types of items. Not that many though. They don't. Each time you go up in amount of items stored, they lose their types, except for the megas, where it reverses again. So yeah, try to make the mega ones, because they store a lot more and have a lot more types. So I do recommend only using these. Although the fluid portable cells, they always store up to 18 types, but they only go up in bit usage. Now then, the difference between these is of course the amount of types and bytes, of course, which is also the case with cells, but they also have more stored energy. The energy gets used when you store stuff in here. So each time you store or take something out, it uses energy. So that's important, and you can charge them while having them in a drive or with a charger, but those are not available. So yeah, you can open these anywhere. So here, demonstrate. They're like the terminal but portable. So really, really fucking handy. Well, now the other method for storing items is the storage bus. The storage bus consumes 1 AE tick each, all of these, and there are 4 different types. There's the normal one, the precise, the mod, tag, and mod. What the difference is, this is just your basic storage bus. If you place any kind of inventory, like a barrel, any item that is, if it is filtered, if it's not filtered, any item that goes into the network will be stored in this barrel, for example. You can filter storage buses, so I do recommend, if you have like an unfiltered storage that should not be used for specific items, do filter them. You can also blacklist them. So, or if they're only input or output. So do look at these options when you can. With the precise one, you can specifically say the amount of items that should be going into that place. The tag one is obvious. You just have to have a tag, like for example stone, and it will. And if you, as you can see here, you can have multiple tags in the same tag storage. And with mod, it's kind of it's also very simple. You just type the mod like at Minecraft, and now it will only store at Minecraft items in here. Well, when you have all of this stuff, you of course want to do stuff with your items. Of course, you can just store them, but that's basic. So we're gonna do some importing and exporting. So we'll start with the exporter. It consumes 1 AE a tick. A lot of stuff does actually, and there are 6 kinds. I know, a lot, but they're not that different from each other. We have the normal export bus, extended export bus, a tag export bus, mod export bus, precise export bus, and threshold export bus. The export bus and the extended export bus, what they do, they pull items out of the system and into this specific chest above, but you cannot take out the items, and they will not show up in the system. So if you, for example, have 10 rails in your system, and this thing is filtered for rails, it will put it in the storage above, be that a depot, a basin, whatever. It will store it in that barrel. The extended version does the exact same as the normal bus, where it can filter and have acceleration and such. But it just has more slots and does it 8 times as fast. That's the only difference between these. Then the tag, mod, and precise do the exact same thing as the storage bus. So don't have to really go over these. And then the threshold switch, you can specify the amount of items that need to be in the storage above, and then it won't export any more items into that storage. So let's say you want specifically 10 items to be in here, and then it doesn't do anything. It will specifically put 10 items in a barrel and stop. It's different from the precise export bus, because the precise export bus just says 10 items at a time in there. So that's the difference between those. Then for exporting stuff out of the system, we have the export bus, of course, and pulling stuff into the system, we have the import bus, which there are 2 kinds. They both consume 1 AE a tick, and that's the import bus and the extended import bus. Where these do the opposite of these, kind of, where these pull items out of a storage above and into the network, where it can be stored into storage via storage buses or cells. Where this one, of course, does it 1 times, and this one does it 8 times, 8 times faster. Well, with this you can already set up some like create automation. Although to actually have it be automatic, you need 2 other things, which is like on demand, because you can have these 2 be automatically importing and exporting out of a specific barrel. But if you want to have multiple things be in, for example, the same heated mixer, you need to have 2 other no, 2 other things, or sometimes 3, but I'll get into that. You need to have crafting CPUs. For a crafting CPU, you need 2 things, and optionally 3. you could use a crafting monitor, which uses 1 AE tick, and it displays the item currently um, being made, so the end product. It will show what it will be and the amount. But to make an actual CPU, you need two things. Well, technically one, but you always should use these two things. One co-processing unit, and then however many crafting storages. All the crafting storages, uh, including the co-processing unit, all of them use 1 AE a tick, and they have different bit amounts. Uh, those amounts just say how many like bits it can give into a recipe, because if you have more stuff going on in the recipe, it will require more bits. So recipes that take more items or are bigger, um, they will require better CPUs or more of the smaller CPU. But I recommend upgrading because you need four of these cells to make one of. Yeah, you need 3 of these to make one of these. So it's recommended to upgrade. Which the maximum for the normal ones is 256, but there are megas which also use 1 AE tick. We'll actually show you. I forgot to set those up, but for all of the normal ones, there are mega versions of them. So you have 1K, 4, 1K, 4K, 16K, 64K, and 256. Not K, well, million. Sorry. There's also the mega crafting monitor and the mega co-processing unit, which just make it so that you can have 8 times more going on at the same time. Each one of these just dictates how many recipes at the same time it can do. So if you have 5 of these, for example, it can do 5 different recipes in the thing you're making at the same time. So that's useful to know. Oh. Then to actually make it, you need just the crafting storage. And usually with a co-processing unit. But I would recommend with a monitor because it, one, looks better, and two, you know what's going on. But it always needs to be in some kind of rectangular form, be that 2D, because this is incorrect, be that 2D or 3D. Then to actually have something autocraft, you need patterns, which you need, if I quickly take them, you need these things where you can make a recipe in your terminal, which will be over there. But you need somewhere to store your patterns. Like the patterns will say, for example, 1 stone will go into this thing and will produce 1 smooth stone. But you need a pattern provider for that. A pattern provider consumes 1 AE a tick, and will have, wait, how many? Yeah, 9 pattern slots. You don't need to mind the return inventory. The return inventory just says everything that goes into this thing will be returned into the network. So it's just kind of a faster import bus. But you need to have hoppers or something going into this. It's more efficient to use the import buses. But these will supply patterns, and it will push it through to any available side. You can specify a side by using a wrench, like the create wrench, and then you will specify the side that it will need to go to. For example, now it will only provide all the items to this block, and all the other blocks it will not provide items to. For crafting, of course, this is really handy, but how do you do like basic crafting recipes like stonecutter or something like that? Because this will push into basins, for example. If I can get one. This will push into any inventory, like a basin, and you can guess how you can use that. So, but of course, it can't push into an actual crafting table. No. It does it pushes it into a molecular assembler, which you would need for those kinds of recipes, like trimming, stonecutter, um, and crafting table. They will all go into here, and you would need a molecular assembler, or alternatively an extended molecular assembler, which can do 8 recipes at the same time. Not from only from a different pattern providers though, not the same recipe. So do note that. They require no power. They do need a direct connection though. You can see that they're activated by having this rainbow line at the edge, because if it's deactivated, it will not have that. These will function as crafting tables or stonecutters or something like that. Well, next, because sometimes you, like for example with heated basins, for example, you heated blaze mixer, sorry. You for example need two things, but you only have one input. How do you do that? Well, you do that with interfaces. Interfaces come in many forms, which is the interface, the pane interface, the mega interface, which also has a pane mega interface. Then we also have the extended interface and the pane mega extended interface. The interface will the interface and the extended interface. This one has holy fuck. The interface has 9 return slots, so any items that will be specified in a recipe, for example, will be, if they are done with a recipe, for example, they will need to be exported into here. So do note that to go back into the system. But a interface separates 2 systems from each other. So if I give this a network, these will not have like direct channels from that network. They will not be able to access any items in that network. So it's handy to make subnets with this. There are also 2 kinds of other pattern providers, but only one is really better than the normal one. We have, of course, the pattern provider and the pane pattern provider. Then we also have the mega pattern provider and the pane version of that, and the extended pattern provider and the pane version of that. The mega pattern provider is just double the amount of patterns of the normal one, but the extended one is 4 times the amount. So you need to upgrade for it, of course. But do go with the extended one, because the mega is 1, more expensive, and 2, just worse. So this is better. But what a quick rundown of what a subnet does. The pattern provider will push items into the interfaces. The interface will say, oh, I have these blocks. Where can I store them? You will have a storage bus somewhere on this subnet, because this is separated. Also, don't connect them, it will break everything. So if you have them, if you have for example lava, it pushes lava into here for a recipe, I don't know. You will need to have lava filtered in here, or the specific item you want in like your basin or something like that. You will have it filtered on here, and then it will push it into the basin in this case. And that is a quick rundown of how subnets work. When it is done, do have your system separated with, for example, something like this, where you have this pushing in your items into here, and then having an export bus, or sorry, import bus on the main network. This way you can filter this and have it extract specific items that will be crafted in this basin. So yeah, really neat. Oh, next spike. There is also, I forgot to say, but there's also one extra energy generation method. Although this is the absolute worst one, and never use this thing. Holy fuck, it is bad. It's the vibration chamber. You need it for a quest, but yeah. What it does, it burns coal, and it generates up to 100 AE a tick. So don't even bother. It's the other methods are better. Next up is the matter condenser. The matter condenser takes any form of item, be that item or liquid. Specifically, if it's from a fluid pipe, it will specifically do it in millibuckets. So one bucket through a pipe is 100 millibuckets. So 100 items here. You can do three things with the matter condenser. You can trash items, which is just a straight up trash can. You can condense them into matter balls, which are used in some recipes. But and you do need a cell for that. And you can also make singularities, which you also need a cell for. And in both cases of matter condensing and condensing singularities, the cell doesn't get used. So do keep that in mind. You need a lot of items for making singularities, or for that matter, matter balls. So I would recommend using fluid pipes, because you just get more. And it's completely free if you, for example, use water. So yeah. And one of the last things that I'm going to talk about, except from those two, is the growth accelerator. This is a decently late game item, and it accelerates growth of specific things. You need to connect power to it from the top or bottom, or when it's laid on its side, like this, specifically on these parts. Only these parts connect to power. As you can see, this doesn't. They can accelerate the growth of any kind of budding thing, like amethyst, for example, or budding Certus quartz. It will accelerate that, and the crystals will grow quicker if it is powered. If it is not powered, it does not do anything. It can also, like this, speed up the growth of crops. So yeah, that's pretty neat. Here's a demonstration. It's a bit slow, but as you can see, it speeds up the growth of the nearby items. Sorry. uh, yeah, as you can see, it speeds up the growth. Then there are two things to talk about now. It is the terminals and annihilation and formation planes. Terminals let you access your network, and you have the pattern encoding terminal, crafting terminal, just terminal, pattern access terminal, and the extended pattern access terminal. Here you can encode patterns into crafting, processing, smithing, and stone cutting. So, and also see the items in here, although you cannot take out the items. The crafting terminal lets you, of course, craft and take out items. The terminal just lets you take out items. The pattern access terminal shows you all the patterns and where they are located in each pattern provider. And the extended pattern provider lets you search where those patterns are being kept. Then the annihilation planes, what they do, they break the block above them and store it anywhere in the system. Or and they can also have silk touch, as you can see. And the normal one is just a normal pickaxe. A formation plane, what that does, it places any item in the system. So it will place it down, no matter what it does. You can also have it set to drop mode, in which case it will drop the item. There's also the active formation plane. If I quickly give it a channel, oh, there. This will do the exact same as this, except it doesn't need a subnet, because this technically needs a subnet, currently is. So yeah. That's the whole video. Bye bye.